This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're working on the LG Trom. It has the LE error, and that is a problem with the motor. And a lot of times it comes from this part. Here's our part number. This is called the rotor. And when the machine gets overloaded, these plastic splines right here get kind of stripped, and then this thing doesn't spin as it should. So we're just going to be replacing this one to cure the LE error. There's other things that can cause the LE error. For example, this thing, which is the Stator, has a sensor on it, and this sensor sometimes can have problems. So could be that you may just need to change this sensor, which is pretty cheap. It's unlikely that you would have to change the whole thing. Sometimes that's the case, but probably it's either the sensor or these splines have worn out because the machine got overloaded. There were maybe blankets or something that was so heavy that when the motor was trying to turn, the spin basket just wouldn't turn with it, and it would strip out this plastic. So when that happens, something has to give, and this plastic is what they've designed to fail. So we're going to be replacing this today. So to do the repair, we've removed the back cover here. It just has some screws you got to pop out. We have a 17mm socket. We have to remove this bolt to get the rotor off. Also, when you are looking for the LE error, just make sure that these wires are okay. I'm going to make sure you don't see any tears or cuts. So if this wire harness is damaged, it will also cause that LE error. It's usually just this plastic spline though. We're going to put on the ratchet. So one thing you can do is put in a standard head screwdriver inside these vanes, and then some about maybe a 1/4 inch in, and then you can see that it's going to get caught right there, and that keeps the rotor from turning, and then it's easier to get this bolt to come off. It kind of holds it while you're spinning that bolt off. Usually at the factory they put Loctite on so the bolt doesn't want to come off, which is good. You don't want that thing loosening, but it's a little bit harder to get off. There we go. Okay, and now grab the rotor, pull it toward us. It should kind of wiggle off the splines. There we go. There's the old one. So these are the metal splines, and they won't fail, but the plastic might. And then this is Stator, and then there's the sensor put into position. Looks good. Also, if these magnets were to break loose and be out of position, it'll cause the LE error, but that's pretty rare. Looks like these things are probably just wiped out. So we can compare and contrast here. The old and the new. Here's the old ones. And if you look carefully, you can see that these should be triangles, but they're rounded. So that's it being stripped. We look at the new ones, and we can see very clearly a lot more material and more like triangles. This one rounded, this one nice triangles. So now to put on the new one, pretty easy. going to put it onto the spline, and be aware there's a pretty powerful magnetic force that's going to pull that on, right? So just take your time, wiggle that in, and then as you put on the bolt, as it tightens, it'll pull the it'll pull the metal shaft towards you. Put that on, and then we'll tighten this up. You can do the same thing to lock the rotor. Just get something put in the vane, and then that'll allow you to get it tighter. You get it pretty tight because you don't want this thing to slip and then cause another LE error. But usually what's going to cause that is just washing things that are too heavy, like bathroom mats, blankets, comforters, sleeping bags. Wipe out most machines. These are really designed well for clothing and sheets, towels, but anything bigger can be trouble. Getting it pretty tight. Okay, and that's it. We're just going to put the cover back on, and that repair is done. There we go. Got it. We'll just put in those screws. Okay, we're going to load it back up. So clothing, sheets is okay, towels are okay. That's about as much as you want to load. So you're not cramming stuff in. Should be a good test. Here are some close-up pictures of the splines on the rotor that were worn out. And they're just a little bit rounded. That's because the metal abrades on them. And that's why you got the LE error. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.